Hello.
Hold on, I'll press the stream transition as well. That bodes really well. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi Alex. How's Wednesday?
Wednesdays are amazing here. It's like it's been nasty all week, and Wednesday is when the sun comes out. And now I'm stuck in front of a computer talking to you. That's exciting. That's the exciting bit. And I can see the sun just outside, just behind you.
Yeah, very
I'm
nearly and
not
nice
good.
safe.
How are you?
It was actually really nice earlier here as well. It was super sunny. It is not super sunny now, but that's fine. I've had my little walk around the park and I'm happy to be indoors and talking to you as always.
So what are we gonna talk about today?
Oh,
We made
well,
some promises.
we made promises, but I also always promised to be derailed by the chat at any time. And we do have some people in chat already. Hey, Lauren. Hi, Lauren. And also, how do I pronounce this? Defireborn. Hi. I'm alright. Yeah, doing pretty well. So I think our promises, other than the promise to be derailed by the chat if they can find us something challenging enough to get our attention, is we are going to talk about CLIs. Now, this is cool because sometimes I talk to you about CLIs anyway, and now we're just like inviting our friends to join us.
I think we've talked about CLIs every week since March. I think since March. Since March.
Pretty
It's
much.
nice to finally talk to some other people about CLIs as well.
Fantastic. Okay, I see Kevin in the chat as well. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining. And, yes, the person with the unpronounceable username says that we can call them Mubashir. So, hello. Thanks for joining. So we're going to talk about CLI stuff today. And do you want to say a bit about like how we got into this in the first place?
Right, the reason we keep talking about CLIs lately is in case you haven't seen this stream before, in case you haven't seen me or Lorna anywhere in the world trying to do things, we do. Next one has a CLI, which we're fans of, and we work with it on a regular basis. And some of us have even have the burden of maintaining it and updating it. The pleasure, I meant the pleasure. That was a good save. I meant the pleasure of updating and maintaining it. It's quite old though it's gotten quite big right now, and it's really hard to maintain. It's based on one of those popular frameworks from like 5 years ago, which isn't really popular today, and it started falling behind and it's unmaintained. So whenever we want to do new things with our CLI, it's either it's gonna take us 5 times the amount of time it should take us, or we can't do that because we'd have to rewrite the framework. It's gotten so bad that right now we don't only use one CLI framework, we have a couple of CLI frameworks stitched together, trying to make our CLI experience as nice as possible. I feel like we are at the end of the road here with the CLI. So we've taken the time this year. I think we decided to do this before coronavirus hit, but it kind of worked out really well with us not traveling a lot. We've got the time to invest in making a new and shiny CLI. So we spent quite a lot of time already in gathering requirements or gathering sort of a retrospective for the old CLI. What we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, what we thought we could do better or we should do better. I've compiled a list of those, and then we started looking at CLI frameworks out there to, start rewriting the CLI, start building the next version of the CLI. And we've looked at so many of them. We thought we should show people some of that work, some of those frameworks. Some of those frameworks are amazing for building CLIs, large and small, and anything in between.
Yeah, and I think some of the people in chat will also have used the Nextmo CLI or maybe seen it on our stream as well. So let us know if that's you. And also, if you have requests for the new version of the CLI, obviously you can just tell Alex now, and he will add them to his list. That's totally how this works.
Thank you, Lorna. I'll remember this. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So, cool. So I have been working with a couple of different CLI things. And so one of them was I built the corporal JavaScript prototype of the new Next in the CLI, and the other one is I look after our Golang SDK, which I think I mention probably every week. It was kind of an unofficial hobby project, so I kind of just fit it around the other things that I do. But the example app that I use in the Golang project is also a CLI tool. So I thought I might show you some of that Golang Cobra CLI stuff, because I don't think you've seen it, and I think you'll like it. And also, like, I'm always worried about how much JavaScript you bring, so there's that.
Sorry, I'm just interacting with Kevin on the chat because I'm supposed to make the CLI. I'm supposed to make the CLI kind of, make a cup of tea, and that's one kind of words.
Listen,
that's one kind of words I don't want to.
You've all seen Alex's code. None of you want it near boiling water.
Right, but I feel like I can make it do coffee because that's a simple and easy process. I feel like tea is so controversial.
A coffee snob?
I'm a coffee snob. Yes, I'm a coffee snob.
So
but that's a process. It's always no. Okay, we're gonna get into this. What goes in first? Milk, tea bag, or hot water?
Okay, well, your first mistake is using a tea bag.
See what I mean? It's really controversial. Whereas with coffee, it's easy. Good coffee beans, water on top, and that's it. It's never different.
But there's an awful lot of weighing, timing, temperatures, things.
Still, I feel it's simpler than tea. Or the coffee snobs out there are still gonna drink semi-decent coffee, whereas seeing every morning our Slack channel, our internal Slack channel, when people talk about the correct way of making tea, or how often that subject comes in our internal Slack channels, I feel like I don't want to make tea.
Yeah, no, it's I can make both, and I am reassuringly mediocre at both. So it's drinkable. It doesn't offend the snobs, but at the same time, you wouldn't necessarily put me first on the list of tea makers. So, do we get any more sensible feature requests, or what? Oh, Ben's here. Hello, Ben.
Ben asks if you really want to push the master.
Hey, that's a good
I don't think that would help.
Yeah, because you would be like, yes, I know what I'm doing.
Obviously. I'm a developer. I'm a veteran developer. We're both veteran developers, by the way.
If anyone missed the context, Alex pushed, was it last time when we were on 2 weeks ago? Alex managed to push something broken over the master branch while we were live on stream. So if you check out our video clips, you'll find the one of me reverting his change from the master branch live on stream. So yeah, we'll see what this week's excitement holds. I feel like I should volunteer to do the first set of coding. Now I've insulted you so much.
Just remember, I have npm credentials live somewhere on my machine. So instead of pushing to master, I might just publish for
just
CLI
deploy it.
today.
Yeah, then it can be in everybody else's master on their production systems. What could possibly go wrong? Oh my gosh. I'm not. I feel so stressed now. I'm not sure I can actually write code. This is really frightening.
I feel like I should do better than last time. We can do better. Together we can make me do something even dumber than pushing to master live.
I'm not sure how you're going to top that, but hey, I can't wait to find out. Okay. Where am I going with this? Alright, so I want to tell you about a cool, amazing tool, and it's written in Golang, and it's for making CLIs, and it's called Cobra. So, listen, Benjamin, don't please give Alex ideas. Benjamin is suggesting we drop some production database. That's why we're in DevRel, right? Because we don't need access to the production platform.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't have access to that, and thank God for that. No, sadly, we could give everybody on stream free credit. We could do that, but we couldn't drop the production database.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let me tell you what. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to find the code for credit and put it in my template so that you can all read it. Because I have seen it somewhere. What am I doing? I'm telling you about this Cobra Golang CLI tool. It's super cool. And I think we could probably use it to do something really simple with one of our simpler APIs. Do we have a plan? We have a plan.
We have a half. Well, knowing us, we have a half-baked plan which we're gonna change midway.
Right.
And that's the beauty of working with veteran developers. I'm sorry, I'm still not over. I'm still not over the tweet. Whoever made that up, I think it was Benjamin. Whoever made that up, it's made my week. It's made my week. I'm gonna start introducing us as veterans from now on because we've seen some battles. We have the scars to prove it. So we're veterans. It doesn't play. I looked it up. I had to look it up because I was offended at first, and I thought veteran was a nicer way of saying old. It turns out it's nothing to do with age.
No, it really means very experienced in battle.
Okay.
I think it makes us survivors, but yes, the Twitter account did promote this session as come and meet our veteran developers, and I'm not sure that was how we'd have described ourselves, but it was hilarious and I did laugh a lot. So that's there's that. Cool. So I'm going to show you this tool called Cobra, and I'm going to make something super simple. So I am going to make send an SMS because it's super simple. Sound like a plan? And then you're going to make send an SMS in some of the much more advanced. I'm sharing my secret. This is because I was coaching you earlier. Fail. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good. Right, so that threw me completely. That really put me off. So I'm going to make you an example CLI tool, and I'm just going to add one Nexmo thing to it really quickly. This is probably not the place that you would normally expect me to put my source code, but Go really likes to have a really clear structure, and it kind of anticipates that all your projects will be in some sort of source control. So you get this kind of Go path, and then for the source, and then you'll see like github.com, GitLab, Bitbucket, wherever else. If you have like in-house servers that you push your Git repos to, they'll all be there. So I mostly have GitHub stuff because nearly everything I do is both open source and actually on GitHub. And I'm going to make a new project and then start doing stuff with it. So I don't know, just call it something. Just needs a name. And I can't do anything if I haven't got my Git prompt in. So we're good. Now then, the instructions for Cobra are here. You do go get this, and then you can use it. Now, what's nice about this is it comes with like a little bit of scaffolding where you can just generate the commands to get you off the mark. So I'm going to be using the Cobra Generator. So here you can find more information about it. So I'm going to install, I've got Cobra installed, and then I can init my command, and then I can start adding subcommands to it. So it looks like this. Init, and then please let me know if my font is big enough. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
It's really, really readable, so it's good.
So I'm going to do package name, and then I'm going to give it this qualified name for the directory that I just created. Nexmo SMS. Your Cobra application is ready. Ha! Your Cobra applicaton is ready. Does anyone want to see a tutorial on doing patching open source tools? Really? Like, oops, a typo. Okay, let's get over that. And now I've done that. If I run tree, you can see I've got a command directory with a root command in. I've got a license file, and I've got main.go. So I can already just run this. Main's going to be my entry point, right? Go run main.go, and it's going to say, oh, you haven't really built command here. But it gives me a little bit of description, so you can see the beginning of the usage stuff happening.
Okay, I think I learned something new again. What's tree, and why don't I have it?
Well, because you're not on a proper operating system.
Oh, okay. Okay, you want to play like that?
I think if it's not already installed on your Mac, it's probably in one of the GNU tools packages or something. I am on Ubuntu, so this stuff is just here all the time, which is why I type it without really thinking.
That's really handy and useful, and I've derailed you because it turns out the chat doesn't want to derail us.
Okay.
Okay, we can move on. I'll figure out if I can get Tree to work on a Mac.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can reinstall it. It's fine.
Oh, there you go. It's just like reasoning with apt, except different. Cool. So there's Tree, and it shows you this directory structure. Top tip: it's really good for. I use it in things like slide decks where you don't necessarily want pictures. You can kind of copy and paste. These are like ASCII table line symbols.
That's why I asked, because I'm writing up this. The thing we're doing today is going to end up in a blog post, and I'm going to talk about that. And I've written ASCII by hand, and I hate it. So now I have a way to actually do that. I thought everybody was kind of writing it by hand, and I thought it was a bit overkill. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's come from this, and it's got a switch. I think it's a capital L for how many levels deep you want. So if it's like show me the top 3 levels, and then one of the directories has got a lot in, and I don't need all of it to make it too big, it's quite useful. This was a wonderful tangent, and I would like to thank you for your excellent company. I do really like Tree, and I didn't think to mention it, so that is awesome. Thank you. Cool. So I need to add a subcommand. And that's Cobra has a command for that as well. So I'm just going to add, I'm going to call it SMS. Fantastic. And if I run Tree again, then I've got an extra file in my CMD directory. So all my commands are going to live here. And now I have this SMS command, and it's there. So let's have a look at that file. Here's the imports. So we've seen this before in Golang. It has all the imports at the top. It's quite smart about auto-loading them as well when I start adding stuff. Then I've got the SMS command variable that describes my command. And then if we go further down, you can see I've got an init function which just gets automatically called. It adds the command. I can add extra subcommands. So if I have like SMS list, SMS Unicode, I don't know, then you can add more stuff here, and you can also add flags, either that apply to all of these commands or just this particular, to a specific command. So, thinking about how we want this to look, then I need to change some of the wording, and we'll see this in the usage stuff that we do. And then I don't want to make you all watch me fail to type loads.
I've seen you write Go before, but I've just noticed Go has the same template strings as JavaScript, and I'm all excited now.
Yeah, Go's, because it's such a modern language, like it's quite a latecomer to the programming world. It's first of all very small in its standard library, but also it takes inspiration from loads of other well-established practices. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've got my usage stuff, and you can see this immediately when you run it. So if I do go run main.go, it's like, hey, I'm a command. You can run help or SMS. And then if I do go run main.go SMS, then it just prints that it's called, and that's coming from the auto generator. So what I want to do now is pass in some parameters and then make them actually do something. So let's do the parameters first. Okay, I need variables to store them in, so I'm just going to do, what do I need? I need from. I'm going to make them all strings because I'm just going to send them in through a web request. So everything's a string in HTTP. So I'm going to just declare some variables. They have to be here in the global scope because I'm going to write to them from one place and read from them somewhere else. So they're just going to be available all the way through this file. And then I love this because it's like a hint on how things should look here. So I am adding flags.
I actually like that, the fact that that's the comment as an explainer. I'll show you. Mine doesn't come with that much explanation, so it's a bit of go back to the docs or whatever. But I feel like this is self-explanatory, and I like it better, especially for like for generated the things. The fact that it's working isn't as important as exactly how it is working and how you can change it. The whole point of having boilerplate is so you wouldn't have to write it by hand, but understanding it is an extra load.
Okay, so I'm putting in the 3 flags to go with my 3 variables. I have.
You did
some
Vim magic in there.
Yes.
Did some yes.
Would you like a
Tell us
replay on
more
the Vim magic?
Yeah, I'd like to understand it. Like I've seen you do it, and it seems to work. Now, if you could explain it for me,
Okay.
explain it like in 5.
You're a little bit more than 5, but okay. So, I can copy a whole line it's called Yank in Vim. So pressing Y twice yanks the whole line. You don't get any visual feedback, so you just believe that I just copied this line. And then if I paste it twice because I want 3 things in total, then I've got 3 identical lines.
Yes.
Now if I do Shift and V, this highlights my line, but I can now do like a find and replace on just this line.
Okay.
So I'm going to find and replace, so it's S/ colon to make this happen, S/, and then the thing I'm looking for, the thing I'm replacing it with, and then some extra switches. So I'm going to replace the from with 2. I'm going to do it more than once, because from appears in a few places. And I'm going to match in a case-insensitive manner. Now this is risky, because my variable name should have an initial capital letter.
Yes.
So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go, it's got an initial capital letter. So I'm just going to jump over here and make it uppercase.
Okay.
So we can do that again. And I'm replacing from with message this time, multiple times, case insensitive. Got it? Now we're going to go and just fix that variable name. Also, this is a nonsense hint for the flag. So I've got some flags, and we can see them in the usage. No, we can't. Whoa! Cannot use type string. That's a bit scary, but I've done it 3 times. That's exciting. What have I done there then? That is exciting. Not really the good kind.
Somewhere in there you've got. Oh.
Have I just typed something? Or let me think about that.
What's the difference between string var p and string?
So string, this string var p is a pointer to a string variable. So it's a method name in this context. So it's so I've got SMS command, flags, string var p, the variable, single quotes. Thank you. Yeah. Every language has got its preferences. Today.
Wait, so Go doesn't do single quotes?
It depends. In general, Golang likes double quotes. JavaScript doesn't care. PHP does things slightly differently, but doesn't really matter. And Python, or is it Postgres? Something in that combination also has an ability. Right, so I'm going to test this theory. This would be super easy if this was what I did wrong. Amazing. Good.
Okay.
So, that's cool.
I'm liking Go so much more because it doesn't allow for single quotes.
There's a whole explanation coming in the chat. This is magical. It's a rune type. It's an alias for int32. Okay. That's a really interesting paste. Thank you, Michael. Awesome. So, I've got these flags, but as you just saw, it wasn't really bothered that I didn't like use them. I just ran it and it ran the code, and that was that. So I'm gonna make my flags required so that we have to supply them in order to run this command. And to do that, it's another command, but instead of calling flags, now we call mark flag required.
Okay.
And then just the name of the flag, like that. So let's do that for all of them, because it doesn't make much sense. I mean, we could put some default values in, I guess. But
I guess 2 is the only one that could be optional to begin with. No, from. Sorry,
we could default the from. Yeah, I mean, and from is an interesting one because you and I are both based in the UK, so we can send from pretty much any string we like. There's no regulations around it. Our examples always work, but there's lots of places in the world where that's not true. So
there's lots of places in the world where from has to be owned because it's a regulation. But on top of that, there's a lot of places in the world where whatever you put in from is not going to be preserved, and we're going to change that with something that ensures delivery. So the from is a bit irrelevant. Yeah, it's a longer discussion about SMS, and I wish we had Sam here. I've got because my life wasn't hard enough this week. With the stream, and tomorrow we're doing Vonage Developer Day, by the way, so you should join us tomorrow for Vonage Developer Day. You get to see a lot more of me and Lorna trying to interact with people and introduce people and remember what everybody's doing and stuff like that. You should join us for Vonage Developer Day. But if life wasn't hard enough with this, I had to go to Sam and say, hey, I'm working on this SMS piece of code for the Node library. I need another primer on SMS, which ended up being 45 minutes of my life, to the point where I now understand I can send SMS messages using hex characters instead of anything else. Hex codes for win. Like I have an example of sending an SMS that's actually a bunch of numbers and like hex. I send hex and it shows up as win.
Amazing.
So we should have
Sam has some real tricks on that, doesn't he? I've seen some. He sent me an SMS that was at a different time or deleted itself or something. It's a bit frightening.
Yeah, so I had to do that as well. So what I'm doing to the Node library is I'm refactoring that SMS part. It's right now a big singleton, and I don't like it. It's a bit clunky, and I'm refactoring that away. And that means most of the stuff we're going to show today is sending an SMS that's a string, and that's fairly simple. It's one line of code. But SMS actually is an encoded set of characters, and you can send binary instead of text. And the way it decodes all that is you can mess with the headers, and that's how you can rewrite messages. You can actually say, I've changed my mind, rewrite my previous message. Here's the binary to do it. Here's the code to do it. It's all in the SMS spec.
Just because you can, does that mean you should? Like, you're making me nervous. I also want to you just mentioned that you and I are some of the hosts at Developer Day tomorrow. So Lauren has just put the Developer Day link into the chat. So yeah, developer.nexmo.com/day, except if you're watching the video, check the date because it's tomorrow on the 14th of May. And so free to register, and we've got a bunch of different speakers from the team, and we'll be there hanging out all day, so come and talk to us or anyone else you want to, because it's going to be amazing and interactive and fun. Cool. So on this screen, this is what happened when I ran my command, but those flags are required now. So I want to just add one more thing, which is I'm just going to have my command like dump out the variables that I gave to it, so that I can tell that the flags that I passed in actually did get into my code, and then I'm going to add the Nexmo piece to send the SMS. No, I'm going to edit the code. Here we go. Cool. So I've got flags. Now I want to work. So currently we're just seeing this on line 34, that at the SMS called, and that's just a little bit of debug output to let us know what's happening. So I'm going to expand on my debug output and give can't type, to from what language is this? And the message, and just make sure that everything's coming through okay, no semicolons. I'm doing 2 lots of live demo today, and I've done lots of rehearsal for them both. One set is this, which is Golang, and the other one is PHP. So I was writing PHP this morning, and now there are semicolons everywhere. Alright, so let's run our command. I'm just going to clear the screen. I'm going to run the command. It's wrapping horribly, but bear with me. We're going to send from a test string, because I can send from an alphanumeric sender here in the UK. I'm going to send to sacrificial phone number. Don't talk and try and type your number at the same time, Lorna. There we go. It's fine if I don't think too hard about it. And the message. Okay. And all that's going to happen is it's going to talk back to me. Yay! I've got to, I've got from, and I've got the message. So I've got the variables I want, and now I'm going to send things with it. I'd like to point out to you, Alex, I know I've rudely interrupted your excellent SMS lecture, but Michael has pointed out that we should check our terms and conditions before we decide whether we should do a thing. And he's suggesting that nope, it would be the right decision here. Good. Excellent. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Thank you, Michael. No, I'm not saying no. There's actually valid use cases for all of that. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm saying it. The SMS specification allows you to do weird and interesting things with it. And that I was talking about adding a win to it. But in all fairness, it seems like you're missing some spaces in your debug message.
I could definitely have done a better job with my debug message. That is true. That is, yeah. That's fair.
It's something I feel deeply about. I'm sorry.
Okay, so now I'm going to call the SMS. Send some SMS to Nexmo. Now we have a Golang SDK. It's a little bit under construction, but I'm going to give you a preview of how that's going to look. So, here we go. Nexmo Go. So you'll find this in our Nexmo community GitHub org, and these are kind of our more in progress or like not really active projects. The Nexmo community is the Golang SDK is just an unofficial SDK. But I'm looking after it, so, you know, it's not bad. But it is in the middle of a big refactor. So I have the refactor branch locally. So I can just go ahead and use that. So if we have a look at the README, because I can't exactly remember the syntax, then it looks like this. I'm going to need to create an auth object with my SMS just uses key and secret, so just key secret auth. Instantiate an SMS client, and then I can call send and pass some variables into it. So this is how it looks for Golang. So I'm just going to copy that and put it straight into my code, basically verbatim. Indentation is all over the place, but if I save the file, then the Go format will fix that for me, which is really neat. Cool. So
did it also import the Nexmo package?
Oh, if we go right to the top, here, the Nexmo package is not here, but because I already have it in my, it's already cloned onto my local machine. Like, it's a library that I use a lot, so Go imports knows about it. So if I just run Go imports, then it'll pull that in for me. So it's there. on my disk. And that's how I know that I'm checked out onto this branch, which has the newfangled, new and improved interface. Okay, so I'm going to pull the these values from the environment, so they're just set in my terminal, or I can set them in my terminal, although I have to just broadcast them, so that's really frustrating. I was trying to coach Alex before we started and fail. Nexmo API secret. So with these environment variables, I can pull them into my code because they're in the environment when the program runs. So I'm creating the auth, I'm creating the SMS client, then I'm sending the message. I don't think we need to get carried away with error handling or anything fancy, so we'll just pretend that's not there. And then I'm going to send, this is from, to, and message in that order. Whoop, not that button, this one. From, to, and then we'll just take this out and put message here. You can pass these opts, which we don't need to just send an SMS. They're more there for the kind of optional extra parameters. You can send Unicode with our SMS API and that kind of thing. You can also set some delivery receipt information, which I'm not going to. I feel like I'm basically there. Let's use the response to give me some feedback.
But the fact that you sound surprised about it, you're somehow surprised you're there, makes me feel less confident about this working on first try.
Well, I feel like it's a bit of an anticlimax. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I'm sending an SMS. It's going to be cool and amazing. Only I've just copied and pasted some code and put my variables in. Like, shouldn't there be more to it? Let's find out. And just grab this from my history and see if it works. I'm just going to hold my phone up in case it does work. Ah, no. Needed to run go imports. Look, go imports. Because I pulled in that getEnv method from OS. That was an anticlimax. Really? Now let's try.
Okay, that means it should be working. Oh, yay!
Message status 0. So 0 is success, no message code for me. So, yeah, just didn't want to labour the point with the library, so grabbing the Golang SDK keeps this quick. But how cool is Cobra? I don't know what happened there, but I lost your sound for a moment. Oh, this is the flat AirPods thing again. Go and find a piece of wire. It's much more reliable technology. Okay. No. Do something else that isn't waving your hands and talking silently at us. Instead of talking to Alex, I'm going to let him sort himself out and say hello to Diana, who's just joined in the chat. Hi, Diana. Hope you caught a little bit of my Golang, fellow Golanger friend. I think that was, yeah, I enjoyed that. That was pretty good fun. It's so quick to build with as well. So I use this as my, I'm doing the Golang SDK and I'm just shipping it with an example application so that you can see how you can use the library. Just sometimes it's easier to see stuff actually just called as well as having the documentation. So I got to know Cobra. I mean, I've used it before, but not for a while. So I got to know Cobra when I decided that this would make an ideal example. Also, I'm really bad at user interfaces. So the command line is ideal for my abilities, or lack of abilities, maybe. I think I can make the chat bigger if I have to do this by myself. Let's see what I can find. Here we go. There. Cool. Golang and its tab sensitivity is annoying. Yeah, I think my editor saves me a lot from being stressed with the tab stuff, because it does a lot for me, and I have Go FMT, the format stuff, running on save. So I don't know if you just noticed, but when I copied code from the README, I literally just blasted it into my code in my editor and then saved the file. And Golang, it's Go format that does that magic, that comes and is like, no, that should go there. Oh, you commented this, I'll indent it for you, and that kind of thing. So I don't at all want to get into an argument about tabs or spaces, but I kind of hear you on it is pretty fussy, but it does make it easy and consistent to work with. Like, I'm never going to clear up a tabs and spaces. I'm never going to have to do a white space fixed job on a Golang project. As a person who had a career in PHP Legacy Project Rescue, I've done some white space cleanup in my time, and I feel that Golang is not going to bring that to me when I mean, because it's fussy on input, if you like, on build, and not so much on output. Benjamin, I am not answering your point about getting something done. Now Alex has gone. I built my thing. He's going to bring us some JavaScript stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to do a little bit, and then you can show me all your new amazing JavaScript stuff. And I don't know, it's his turn, and he's run away. So I personally think the chat scared him. I've taken no responsibility for this. Yeah, I mean, we lost him completely, which is, I don't know, maybe better than having him my matter. So I'm not really sure. I really enjoyed building the command line stuff, and the Cobra is such a nice tool, and I have done some more advanced stuff with it as well. I just wanted to keep it super small for you today so that you could quickly see it, and I could have that rewarding moment of, oh, I've got a text, which is a really fun thing to work on. Like, the best thing about working for a communications company is that your phone actually rings when you do it right, or you actually get an SMS or whatever. I think it's good. Paul is asking if I told Alex to go. I think I don't really want to convert him, because I think Alex is great at JavaScript. He's our main Node advocate, although we have quite a lot of Node people on the team. So I don't want to show him too much Golang in case I have to then do the JavaScript. That would not be great. Yeah, so we're hoping that we can build some command line stuff with Node. So Alex and I and one of our other colleagues, Dwayne, have been evaluating some more modern CLI frameworks. So I don't know if any of you have a favorite JavaScript framework, but we've been hearing a lot about Oclif, which is, who uses Oclif? Is it Salesforce? I've seen a couple of really cool CLI builds with Oclif, and it seems like quite a nice kind of fully featured platform for building CLI stuff. Like, I think that's pretty cool. And we also evaluated something called Corporal, and so I built that, and then Dwayne also built something called Ink, but he built with Pastel, which is like built on top of it. Now that is beautiful, but you need to know React to write a command line tool, and I just don't know, because it's a team effort, right? A bunch of us contribute to all the different libraries, the different tools. Everybody uses the command line. It interfaces with all our different products. I worry a little bit about having a lot of prereq knowledge to be able to get involved in a CLI project. Oh yeah, so I said I was worried about teaching Alex too much Golang in case he takes it up and I have to do the JavaScript. Paul says that's why he's keeping quiet about Swift with Alex around. Yeah, I hear really good things about Swift. I feel it's kind of in a family with Swift, Golang, Rust, that kind of new generation of more than just web. Scripting languages, modern languages, they're all more strongly typed. I got a lot of good things to say about those. And Paul is adding, okay, so you would add Kotlin to that list, Paul. I haven't done a whole lot with that yet. I like to say I write enough Java to be dangerous. I haven't massively got into Kotlin yet. Diana loves Rust. Yeah, Diana, I have that kind of in my mind in the same bracket as the Swift and the Golang. I think they were all quite rewarding to build with, and they make it easy to do the right thing sometimes, and that's super important. Awesome. So let's see if we can get Alex back. He says his glitch has fallen over. Well, that's a problem because that's how his video, audio, and screen share get to me. So, so let's see if we can patch those back in and get him back. I think if you want to see some CLI stuff, I built? It was me that built with Corporal. It was a few weeks ago, but let me just flip over to my screen share and we can have a little dig around with interruptions as I try and also get Alex back at the same time. Cool, so I am gonna go this way, give you back my terminal. You can all enjoy me digging about, looking for the project that I am working on. So it's gonna be in here somewhere, probably in here. Let's have a look. Yeah, one of these. Oh, and I pushed it somewhere. That might give me a clue what it's called. I have a bunch of interesting projects here. Let's check my GitHub account and see if that illuminates me at all. If you watch this stream regularly, you know that I am not JavaScript native. I mean, I write enough JavaScript to be dangerous, and that's putting it generously. Okay. There we go. The Nexmo Corporal CLI. This is pretty fun. You need to let me know if you can see the code here. Make it bigger. This was pretty fun. The setup list was quite straightforward, and then you can configure these various commands. And then the actual commands themselves are in the commands directory. So the structure is fun. You can see it there on my Lorna Jane GitHub account. In chat, I've got, I'm unable to sign up for a dev account on Nexmo. What kind of enable? Share your error messages or feedback with us, because I could probably fix that for you. And I'm going to share the code with you as well really soon. Right, let me try and figure out how to get Alex back. You might get his audio if I try hard. I'm probably screen sharing that. Oh, didn't expect that to join over there. That is okay. Excuse me while I just press all of the buttons.
Hello.
There you are. Okay, so I think we have your audio.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
For some reason I can't hear you.
Excellent.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I think it just took Hangouts a moment to pull itself together. So we hear you, but we don't see you. Well, we kind of see you because I'm screen sharing you. So
Okay, perfect.
You stay there while I try and figure out how to get you better into the picture. Chat, can you let us know if you can hear Alex as well as see him?
If it's Paul, I feel like Paul had some snarky comments, and I haven't followed chat enough to know if it was about me, but knowing Paul, it was about me, right?
No, not at all. No. Certainly not. Much. Awesome. Okay, so I need to work on getting you over here. I've basically run out of monitors is my fundamental problem. Is I need to put you in a place where... Oh no, I think maybe I just need to dock you onto this other browser. Hold on.
Do you need me to start sharing my screen as well?
I'm not quite ready for that yet, but yeah, go on, because it'll push you into the right place on the screen. I kind of remember how we used to do this when we still used Hangouts. I'm going to try and push the Hangout tab into the window.
We've learned a valuable
share
lesson.
No, we've learned a valuable lesson, and that is Lorna kept backups of the layouts. So we're actually golden. Use screen share now, and we are going to be back cooking on gas.
Okay, let's see if I share the right screen.
Oh my word,
Yeah.
Let us transition over to you. You're on screen. I think the stream delay is enough that might take you a while to realise, but I promise you're on screen. Now let me see if I can get your shared video up as well. That would be amazing.
Did we have a full stream without any technical difficulties? I feel like we've been doing this for months now, and every stream there's this one little thing where Alex kind of drops off.
Well, look, this week I managed to fix your audio problem before we went live, because you have to like switch the default input and then switch it back again, and that happens every week. So I did that right. I turned on your microphone a little bit too soon, but that's fine. You started saying hello and I was like, I haven't pressed the video button yet, hang on. So that's a barrel of laughs at the start of the screen. But people, have to see the live thing. I am set to screen share for you, and I kind of started just showing off my corporal stuff, and showing how much I like the structure for creating each of the commands. So we can compare and contrast that then with, now I know you've been working on Oclif. Is it quite a lot more fully featured than the corporal, which I know you have previously seen, and the Cobra that I just showed?
So in terms of what it can do, as it has a lot of batteries included.
Okay.
The difference between it and corporal is so when you look at Oclif, it's there to help you build a CLI, and then to help you make coffee, and then to help you make tea, and a bunch of other things that maybe 10% of the people who build the CLI are ever going to use. So if it's like, I feel like for what I'm going to show you how to do today, which is the same thing, send an SMS, it's a bit of an overkill, and it involves some things, and the learning curve isn't as smooth as the Go one or corporal or stuff like that. But when you need certain things that come out of the box in Oclif, it's a lot easier with Oclif. And Oclif has another thing going for it. It's got a big enough ecosystem and the ability to add plugins that if the framework doesn't have that option for you, there's probably a plugin that is going to allow you to have that in your CLI without you having to hand code it. The problem we had with Commander, and Corporal is kind of like the evolution of Commander, is the ecosystem around it is not as developed as Oclif. There's no big company that's developing those. It's more of a community thing. So when you need things, you kind of have to build them yourself. Whereas in Oclif, a lot of people have been building around this. There's a really massive CLI that's running on Oclif, and that's the Heroku CLI. Technically, Oclif came to be because the Heroku people kind of took the core of their CLI, the thing that we're using to build the CLI, open sourced it, and turned it into a standalone thing, and that's Oclif now.
Awesome. So do you want to show us around? Shall I flip to your screen share?
Yes, I
All
think we
right.
can. I think we can.
Let's do that. Make your fonts bigger. Because I've got it on my big monitor and I can't actually read it. Lovely.
Okay, so this is Oclif.io. This is the framework. You can see the selling spiel, which is build a CLI in under 2 minutes. A hello world. Well, a hello world should be. It depends on your npm, but it should be seconds. But that's not the point. I'm going to show you how to build one. The front page shows you how to build a single command CLI. Now, for what we're building now, it's technically a single command. Like it depends. When you build a CLI, do you count your hello command or your help command as a command, or is it not?
I think you could count it, definitely.
So we built a two commands in your command line tool. Okay, so it's the single gives you that help and one single thing. Not a lot of people are going to build that though, so we're not going to build Oclif single. We're going to build multi. If we go to getting started, multi command CLI, I'm gonna do that. I should have somewhere in here. I should have VS Code. Yes, I have VS Code. Hopefully it's big enough for people to see. So if I just copy this VS Code, I'm gonna call it. What was yours? Maximo SMS. Yeah. And it's gonna. I love the fact that it's on npm and I have npx. So technically, Oclif comes bundled as a global package, global CLI, and I have to do npm install -g and then install Oclif and then start using Oclif. Yes, we're gonna call this Maximo SMS. Maximo SMS CLI. We're gonna run for just SMS. Yes, I'm the author. We're gonna call it triple O now. We're gonna release this today, so we might call it 0.0.1. It knows what my GitHub is. Okay, I'm gonna select npm as my package manager, and I'm gonna select TypeScript instead of JavaScript. So technically, this framework works with both TypeScript and JavaScript. Now, if you look at the, yes, I'm gonna use a linter.
So I've heard of TypeScript, but I think I normally write JavaScript. So why do I need both? Or maybe why would I choose one over the other?
Okay, so TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. What that means is it's something on top of Java, something more than JavaScript. So it does JavaScript. TypeScript transpiles, it doesn't compile, it transpiles the JavaScript. And it came about because JavaScript doesn't have strong types. It didn't used to have types at all. You weren't able to do classes in JavaScript, for example. You could only do functions and objects, and everything boils out. Even functions are objects at the end of the day. So you couldn't do a lot of the object-oriented things, or the things you think as strong typed languages. JavaScript didn't have that. It was a free-for-all. And before the ES people tried to change the language so it had a bunch of those things, TypeScript came along, and it allowed you to write something that, at the end of the day, still wrote JavaScript for you in a way you could understand. It came out of Microsoft. So TypeScript came out of Microsoft because .NET developers couldn't understand JavaScript. Steve is on the stream. Because .NET developers couldn't understand JavaScript, so they needed to have types in JavaScript, and that's how TypeScript came. I'm gonna stick with that.
Digging a hole.
I'm gonna stick with that. No, so technically, when TypeScript came about, it was horrible, and I used to hate it with a passion, right? But I think about 2 years ago, maybe a bit more, maybe 3 years ago, it started being adopted by the Angular team at Google, to the point where Angular is written in TypeScript now and works mostly with TypeScript. And that's when the TypeScript language started to evolve to the point where it's pleasant to write TypeScript again. It's actually useful to write TypeScript, and the JavaScript it generates is not, and that's it's not bloated anymore, and it's a pleasure to write it, because the JavaScript code it outputs and that you actually end up running is highly efficient and highly performant. It used to be that it was easier to handwrite your JavaScript if you were looking for performance than use anything else. But at this point, it's so much nicer because it provides that strong type component that JavaScript lacks. So I created my multi CLI, and what this does is it creates a bunch of files for me, including this little tsconfig file that tells my TypeScript interpreter how to take my TypeScript and make it into JavaScript, a way to find it and stuff like that. And I've got my source directory. Same way Cobra worked on a convention. Same way this works on a convention. So inside source, you've got a folder for commands, and all your commands live in here. So for example, right, so if I go in here into Nextmo SMS, I can do bin run, and I could do hello, and that's my command. My hello command lives inside source commands hello. There's also a second way you can do commands. So these are simple commands. If I wanted to do hello world, I would have to turn hello into a folder and add a world.typescript file inside there to have that type of command. Also, because this is Node, because this is Node, I could npm. I could run this with bin run, or I can do npm link, which will link my current folder inside my. Because I've already got the SMS package. So what this does is it symlinks my package into the node environment, so I could be running SMS. And if I delete this, it's gonna work. Okay, so this should link my my current CLI, so I could do SMS hello. And now I've got the same thing without actually having to publish it to npm. So we don't have to publish it to npm today during the stream. I feel like we've did our boo-boo for today. We don't need another one. And
how this to co-present without your co-presenter for 10 minutes, but you know, I like that you bring me these learning experiences. Sorry, carry on.
What can I say? I'm a people pleaser. People wanted less of me today. They got less of me today.
Wonderful.
So this index file is just it actually allows me to get the run system out of the Oclif command package, and this is what I'm interested in. This is the hello command, which gets generated by default when you generate a command. Now I'm gonna keep hello just because I feel like I shouldn't mess with perfection. And I want another command. If I want a second command, instead of creating this by hand, Oclif also comes with the generator that allows you to generate a bunch of things. So, for example, I could generate my command, and it's gonna generate this. So, for example, if I want to generate npx Oclif generate send, it's going to generate a send command for me, and I should see it pop up in there. One of the other things that I liked about Oclif when I built a POC for an CLI with it was it has the concept of hooks. So I can have pieces of code running when someone installs the CLI and before every command is run. Generate is not the Oclif command. What did I do?
Don't know, look at the thing.
Oh, it's Oclif command. Of course, if I read the docs for a change.
Instead of just showing them to us. I was not paying enough attention because I just put the coupon in the footer, not realizing that we'd edit live on the stream. So there's like me adding a text box and then moving it around. So that was hopefully fun for everybody to watch. So yeah, I totally was not reading your documentation, but I'm happy that you fixed it without any help from me because you didn't get any.
That's a change. I'm usually I like doing this stream with you, Lorna, because I know it's like having training wheels on. I know whatever I mess up, you're here to fix. Oh, you saw when I generated this command. So when I added the send command, it made this send file for me. But what also happened, and one of the reasons I like it, and now my keyboard got disconnected from the computer. It feels like today everything disconnects. So what it also did is replaced a bunch of, like, it created the files, but it replaced a bit of things in the README, and that's because it auto-generates the README file. So if I go into the README file, I have these kind of templated slots in it, and it's gonna, whenever I add a new command to it, or whenever I do something to it, I can regenerate the README instead of having to write it manually, like we currently do for current CLI. So send, and if you look at send and hello, the only difference between these two is that little bit in here that says static examples, and that little portion gets added into the doc. So I'm not gonna recreate that. I don't really care about it. I've got my command, so I'm gonna use this here. Of course, my keyboard reconnected because it shows up on that screen, right? Everybody can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody can see when my keyboard reconnected.
We all enjoyed seeing your notifications and sharing your experience with you.
Hopefully I remembered to close my other notifications. Fine. So I already have flags in here that I could use. The generated command already has flags like help and name and force, and it's just to show you what type of flags you can have, like flags with a value and flags with no value, booleans or strings. If I run this,
like, how much of this do you need to? There
yes.
we go. This answers my question completely. Like, how much of this do you need to build before you can start to run it? Like, I found that I could very quickly put something up and start running it, even though it was just talking back to me and being like, send me some
arguments. Of course, I reran my, no.
Yeah, no, not this. I did wonder what NPS X was doing here, because that's what I thought, not what I thought we were doing. Oh, right.
Right.
Okay, nice.
So here's what that does. So it allows me to use it right now. So I'm gonna change my flags in here to be the flags we're looking for. I'm gonna keep the help flag. So help is auto-generated as well. You saw me changing the description, and that's because when I do SMS, I get hello, help, and send out of the box. And if I do SMS send -h, that's generated as well from the flags I have and from my description. So in here, if I change my description, that gets generated into help. And if I change this into let's say not name, but from.
Okay, so just switching up the flags to get what we actually want.
Okay, and I'm gonna get to.
Okay. And is these character single character, that's the short switch?
Yeah, so I could be passing my flags as either dash dash help or -8.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And Cobra has the same thing, but I dislike short flags, so I didn't alias for mine. Cool.
So I've changed this in here, and if I rerun my command, why are you complaining?
What does the error say? Oh, I see.
Okay,
It's just giving
so
you a little. Yeah, you don't have a
it's
name flag anymore. I really want to try one of the Vim modes for VS Code. I think you're missing a comma after to and before message. I really want to try the Vim modes for VS Code and just see like how much of my existing editor skills I could bring across with me. There are a bunch of things that are built into VS Code which I think are really neat. I'm not sure I could ever manage a built-in terminal. I spent too long at my real terminal, but stuff like the live sharing, I think is great.
I think the live sharing feature is one I keep using these days, just because it's easier to control code in an environment that I'm familiar with. Like if we were to pair right now and you'd have me write code in Vim, I feel like I'd focus on Vim a lot more than the writing code part.
Yeah, that's fair. Whereas I feel like, so we don't usually pair, so we don't do the live thing with the VS Code, which I've seen Lauren does really well on her stream. And we kind of can't, right? Because I don't know how to drive VS Code, and we've talked a bit on this stream before about my accessibility issues, and I'm pretty sure that you sometimes see it when I'm using the browser or whatever, that my accessibility tools aren't visible. So I would struggle to use VS Code, but I think lots of practice with the keyboard shortcuts and see how good the Vim mode is might really help. It's just super relaxing to just chat about stuff and watch you bringing those
Thank you.
flags into the
I'm gonna
variables and stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna show you something else. So you see, I'm importing like the CLI is importing command and flags from Oclif command here. That's because it's a type. Oclif command has typings and support for TypeScript. Whereas I'm importing the Nexmo library, which has limited support for typings right now. Do you want to guess what typings we have right now in Nexmo?
Do we have support for typing in SMS so that you can do this?
Nope, but we have verify. I know you're really
Okay.
fond of
I'm
verify.
really fond of verify. I have special responsibilities towards our verify second factor auth product. So yeah, it's
So
definitely one of my favorites because everybody should use
so
verify. Every app needs it.
So instead of importing in a nice way just the SMS bit I need from Nexmo, I'm actually saying import everything from Nexmo and name it Nexmo in here. So it imports the default export and it gives it a name instead of our documentation. Okay, let's look at our docs for a bit. So our docs for SMS. send an SMS with Node. It tells you to initialize your dependency. So instead of doing this, nextmo equals require nextmo, that's the TypeScript way of doing just that. Now I need to actually instantiate that. Oh, but before I do, seems like I missed a step, which is install dependencies. Installing dependencies should be good. TypeScript TypeScript here told me that could not find module nextmo. So if I do npm install nextmo here, it should clear that right up.
I think it would drive me a bit mad
Yeah.
to use proper IDE with all these little windows popping up trying to help. You're doing fine. Like, you didn't need the help, but there was still like a menu coming up to prompt you.
To be honest, the laptop screen and this zoom is a lot more than I usually do.
Yeah.
I would be more comfortable with what you get in Vim in here without all the distractions.
Yeah,
But in here on the laptop is a bit too much.
The terminal's a bit squashed. Like, I like more terminal than this. And maybe more editor as well.
Me too. Me too. But I think I could get less. Can I? Can I get less? No. That's okay.
Less.
Oh, I
or
can.
you could just fold it up. Oh, right. That's cool.
Okay. So I've added nextmo to it. Trying to figure out. I don't think I need anything outside of it. So I've added nextmo to it, and now I can actually use nextmo. So I'm gonna instantiate nextmo in here. Gonna add nextmo, and in here I'm gonna, because you showed me how to put my key and secret in environment variables, I'm gonna use them from environment variables. Okay. As you can see, it complains about the fact that I don't have signatures in my package. Now the editor is going to complain, but when I run my code, this is actually going to run, which is good, even though the editor complains about it. And then I can use this little code snippet to send the SMS.
Here's one I made earlier, pulling from the code snippets on the developer portal.
I have to be honest, I use the code snippets on a regular basis. They're just so handy for things like this where it's copy pastable. Now, I think the SMS command, I feel like after 3 years in Nextmo, I think Friday is going to be my 3-year Nextmo-versary. Yeah, Friday is going to be my 3-year Nextmo-versary. I feel like sending an SMS after 3 years is something I could hand code. But at the end of the day, why should I?
I'm a little bit concerned that we don't have from to or message yet. Okay, you're just moving it. That's cool. I just felt worried there for a moment. That's all good. There's a great conversation going on in channel about editors, but you carry on, we'll just chat amongst ourselves.
So this, because it's got types, right? I have to specify the types of it. It's complaining when I don't have any types. So I actually have to say, this is any, don't bother with me with it. Now, if I actually wanted to, you know, make it useful, I'd go and actually figure out what the error type is, and I'd give this an error type, and the data, I'd give this an SMS response type. so that when something that's not of that type comes in through it, I can react to it more than, okay, something happened and it's not going to work with the code I have.
I find it quite interesting because I feel I might get on quite well with TypeScript because of how much I like Golang and its strong structured typing. TypeScript seems equally kind of specific.
Yeah, yeah. So for this, our code snippets have used console log. Oclif actually has their own logging system. So instead of using console log, I'll change to their logger, and I'm gonna log this.
Okay, and so I'll see that in the output when you run a command, right?
Yes. Okay. I feel like this is gonna fail the first time around, and I'm just looking forward to how it's gonna fail.
Okay, so putting in the message and then... Yeah, so actually this is pretty similar to what we built in the previous example.
Yes. So technically, I should be able to build the same command as you did.
Cool.
To, from, and please don't fail. Let us see if turn my sound back on, and if this works from first try. I'm completely not expecting it. Okay, to work. That was a surprise,
Yay!
and I just got the nest. Okay, that was good. That was. It feels somehow anticlimactic, and I've got 8 more minutes left. Okay, let me show you something that I found interesting, and you're gonna hate.
Oh, can I
I
first
know.
ask you what this means? So in the channel, Davey York has written, I always use yargs for this.
Oh,
Does that mean
I'm so
anything
happy.
to you?
Yes, it's one of those. When I told you the framework word is big, yargs is one of those things that you can use to stitch together a CLI out of little pieces. And what it does argument parsing. What I did in there with flags, right? What I did in there with flags, that's what yargs allows you to do. That and the little piece I'm going to show you next. So I've got flags. You've also seen I've got arguments, and arguments and flags are a bit different because arguments are positional, whereas flags are not. I got to specify the flags in whatever order I wanted, whereas arguments are positional. So if I go and look at their documentation, if I go and look at that documentation, at the
Oh, this
Oclif
is what I'm going to
documentation,
hate. Positional arguments on the command line.
oh, it's going to be so much more than that. It's going to be
just
so much more than
frustrating. I
that.
can never, because you have to type the command to get the usage instructions to be able to type the command. Just let me use the flags and give me some autocomplete. I'm good.
So
I mean, I live at the command line, so I feel entitled to my opinion.
I'm sorry. I'm a big fan for some things. I'm a big fan of arguments over flags. So we're gonna make this work with both arguments and flags and everything in between. I'm gonna make this into a Frankenstein. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're gonna hate this. I know you're gonna hate this, and I knew this going into it.
I
But
can
I'm gonna
just
make
switch
this
away
into
from your screen share and mute your mic if I need to.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna use this as from, and I can do a bunch of things. So I can add description here as well, like I did for. So it's description is one of the not required ones in here, and I can add the description, and that's gonna help me with the help output and the docs. So I've got from, I've got to and I've got message. So I've got the same kind of arguments as I've got my flags. So if I do help, you'll see my flags, and then you'll see my arguments in there with the same output in the help, which I thought was useful. And now when I run this, I could do, instead of doing this, I could do, so first from equals flags dot from, or args dot from.
So do you make both the flags and the arguments optional when you use a setup like this?
Yes, all of them are optional. I can actually specify required things, but I've made them optional by default. Everything in here is optional by default. You can add things to make them required. Okay. Well, yep.
Please never ship a real CLI like this.
Well. Let us not be hasty.
No, I've given it quite a lot of thought. Like a lifetime's worth. You need find and replace macros.
So I've got this thing I'm using, which is command clicking. But because this is TypeScript and it's actually got types, when I command click something, it takes me to the definition. So when I command click from in here, it actually takes me to the definition of that, which I think right now isn't helping. Okay, so I've got this, and I could pass in some sort of a Frankenstein. For example, if I change this, what's my first one? The first one is from. So if I change my command, it looks like this. It's still gonna work, and the message was sent successfully because I got the correct combination. Now I can actually, instead of doing default values here, I could do another thing that Oclif allows me to do, which is prompt you for the values. This is one of the examples when I was telling you the current CLI as bits and pieces mashed together. Mm-hmm. We have interactive mode and a few of our commands, the ones that deal with application mainly, because you need so many things to create an application. There's so many options. We've got that interactive mode, but that interactive mode isn't made with Commander, with our CLI framework. That's made with Inquirer, which is a second framework that's kind of stitched together just for that one little command. This actually comes with prompt, and I need to add a second package, which is CLI UX. They have these things for user experience within Oclif, and I can use that.
That's really neat. Yeah, no, I like the look of that.
There's a couple of things in the UX package that I like. So one of them is this, the prompting thing, and the other one is table. I think table is one of the
output stuff that I've seen you build.
Yes, this is one of the underrated things. So I can specify this is going to use table, and I can not only do tables with my output, I can do a lot of different things with my output out of the box. I can sort my output, I can filter my output, I can put out CSV instead of those tables, and I can actually decide how much I want to show in my table output, which is regular table or extended table, kind of like having, instead of silent and verbose, having like 5 different levels in between silent and verbose, and I love that. I'm gonna use the prompting thing from the UX package here. So technically, I need to add the prompting package at the top.
Nice. Yeah, I can see us doing more of this because I know that you're going to be actively working on this for the next few weeks and months and whatever. So I can see us. Please let us know in chat if you'd be interested to see us not just building you a fun demo and showcasing CLIs to each other, but actually working on the real thing that will become the new Nexmo or Vonage CLI. I think that'd be. I'd be really interested to know what you're interested in. Also, we got a question last week, didn't we, about somebody with a bots question? So
yes.
Are we going to do that next time? I'm making promises for you. Are we going to do that next time, or?
Yes, let us do bots. Let us do bots last time. I know you spent the past couple of weeks playing with WhatsApp and our new sandbox. So let's bring some of that into the stream and then maybe make a bot out of it. Yes, that sounds good. So 2 weeks time, we're going to be here building bots. Now, because this is JavaScript, the prompter is asynchronous. So the CLI prompt method is asynchronous. So I have to wait for it. But because wait is a restricted keyword in so many things, it's gonna await for it because that makes so much better. Async await instead of wait. So I'm gonna ask. So I can, if I fail to input any of these required things in any of that way, this is going to actually prompt me for it. So if I change my command, so I've got a from and the to, it's going to prompt me for the message. Oh, it actually adds the colon at the end.
It adds the colon and you added it too.
Yes. Okay, and that sent me definitely a message.
Oh yeah,
right. I feel like
SMS chime.
Yes, I feel like I've showed you enough, and it's 4:30. I know I cheated and I kind of took a break for 10 minutes. That whole technical difficulties thing wasn't really a technical difficulty.
I want to tell you something,
I cheated.
And I want to tell you now because you'll notice when you watch the video back. I felt worried about we had a tech problem the other week and you dropped off. And then I noticed that Lauren streamed by herself for part of yesterday because she had Goran on, but she couldn't stay the whole time. And she had separate layouts for just her. So today I made layouts that worked even if you're not here. It was like I had some kind of crazy premonition. So I hope that it didn't look too bad because I was able to switch to just me when I didn't have you and then patch you back in when you were back. So I feel like we did have technical fail, but we did overcome it in some way. That's my story.
I don't know if I should feel hurt that you thought of a time without me, or if I should be really happy that you thought ahead. And
I was more worried about your internet connection than your loyalty, but yeah. Cool. No, I think this was great, actually. I know that you were interested to see the Golang stuff. Read a little bit of a chat about that, and then a little bit about the corporal and the other stuff that we tried. And so to get to see the Oclif and the send, I'm very opinionated about developer experience with command line stuff. So it's quite interested to see what your options are, and that you would choose to support both flags and positional arguments in a single command. That in itself tells me something about you as a person.
I feel like you're judging me, but you're not being silent about it. I think my philosophy for this, as you've seen, changing from supporting flags and arguments and prompts in the same command, because of the way this Oclif things all ties together, was incredibly easy way I could do it in the same line of code. If I would have to do this in Commander, for example, I would have the same opinions as you, but because the cost of implementing it in this, I was telling you at the beginning, Oclif is one of those things where when you need batteries, you have a lot of options.
Yeah.
Exactly this.
But it's
Just because
for
it was
me.
so easy to implement, I
It's not
could
about
put
how
it
easy
there.
it is to implement. It's about how easy it is for the user to understand what they should do now, and that's why I don't like it. I'm quite happy to be opinionated. Although, yes, the prompt actually is helpful, and especially for things like we have the capability switch on the applications ID, where it's like you can have this, this, or this, and so prompting me which of these would you like, I think is quite nice. So
I think to be honest, having for this because it's like three arguments, having both flags and arguments, I wouldn't do it. I'd still keep the prompts though, because if you forgot to pass me a flag rather than failing it and you having to rerun the command again, I'll just prompt you for the thing you missed.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, okay, that's a good compromise. I could get behind that. Let's end on a good note. I feel today was fun, apart from trying to co-present without the other presenter, which was no fun at all. But I'm really happy that you made it back and that we managed to sort of pull out some old templates and they actually kind of worked. So that was super helpful. We've made promises for some bot-related content and the Messages API, which we haven't even done Messages API on stream, have we? But we
I don't think so.
sometimes get questions about it. So really looking forward to doing that in 2 weeks. And if anyone is around tomorrow, come and watch us introducing the speakers at Vonage Developer Day. That is a free event that we're running with all our colleagues tomorrow. What else do we need to tell people? Oh, if you're bored next Wednesday, come and join the low code hour that's in this time slot when we are not here, and then we'll be back the Wednesday after.
Yes, I feel like this is everything we were supposed to tell people about. Hopefully we'll remember this tomorrow as well, during Developer Day. It was really nice streaming with you today, and hopefully I'm gonna make a statement. In 2 weeks' time, we're gonna have no technical difficulty.
Oh,
That
I
is gonna
think
be
you
the
just
stream.
jinxed us.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
You're not
I
sorry
feel
at
like
all. You're just trying to keep me on my toes.
you showed me you could handle a lot of things going wrong. You were prepared for so many things this week. When things did go wrong, you fixed it instantly.
But
That
you can
we
watch
should we should
you can
challenge the
watch the
universe.
stream of the missing minutes and let me know how I did. How does that sound?
Okay,
All
fair enough.
right. This was a pleasure. Thank you for showing me Oclif. It was really good. It was interesting. Let's leave it there. Thanks a lot, Alex. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.